How do I create endless content? Hi, Massimo here, and this is another question that another of my group members asked me when he joined the my Facebook group, and I remember that. Well, this is a question that many of you have, and I remember that it was the same question that I had when I started this kind of job and of business, but it is not something that happened only when I started or when you are starting publishing on the social platforms. I bet that you had this problem even earlier, and I'm sure because it is what happened to me when I was at school. So, as I already said in a previous video, I uh, I was really good in Italian compositions. Okay, and I was helped from my teachers and in the middle school and in the high school in order to write better and better compositions. And the point was that I had the structure. I knew which question I have to answer to, but there was always this thing happening at the beginning. There was the title of the composition, and the problem was that I didn't have an idea what to write, and I was helped. Well, normally when you do the composition, you just have the teacher giving you the title, and you have to develop then your composition from there. And you don't have you have to try to don't diverge going into other topics, because when you are writing, this is something that happens even when you speak. It is something normal. We speak with about something, then we start with another topic, and then from that topic we start with another topic, and so on. The point is that basically this problem that I just pointed out is very helpful in order to create endless content, because this is a natural tendency to go from one topic to the other. And one thing that one could do is that simply just follow this we can say bad habit, and note that down the different topics where you are just going, and then use them and develop them singularly, one by one, in for each post or for each video. But they could be not that much related, especially when you go too much further. But this is a good way. The problem is that normally we have to start, and we need ideas. And it was, I remember when I was in the high school for the final examination, and it was something like really funny for me, at least, because there was the three tracks were given to us, and I immediately decided not to write about Italian literature and about contemporary to not write about the contemporary Italian track, because these were two topics where I was not that much strong. So I chose the third track, or the first track anyway, which was speaking about the role of imagination in society. Well, I am, and I was, especially at that time, I was very passionate about science fiction and fantasy. So that was like a blessing for me, and it was cool because when I read the first track, it was about literature. I was like, oh my god, I can't. This is not. I don't remember anything about this stuff. Then I watched it and I read the second track, and it was about some kind of politics, contemporary situations on, and I was like, I don't like politics at all. This is not my stuff. And then I read this. What is the role of imagination in the society, in our culture? I was like, what? Are you kidding me? I mean, this is my subject. This is, I read, I know everything about it and so on. And I was like, oh my god, I'm so lucky. This is exactly the track that I wanted to find. And I was like, I read it and I was like, the first one about, yeah, Italian literature, and then the second one about politics, something like this. Then I read the third one, what is the role of imagination in the nowadays culture? I was like this, really, like this, laughing. My classmates were looking at me, and the teachers in the commission, examination commission, the someone was just looking at me like, huh? And I was like, and I was just watching the others, my roommates, my classmates, and I was like, okay, guys, you brought your stuff with you, your already done compositions, and when I arrived and I showed you that I didn't have any, and you said me, you're crazy, how can you. And now this is the proof that I'm going to crush you all. I was so happy. And then there was the class representative who was a parent of mine, who was a teacher of estimation and rural technology, and he was looking at me, and he came and he asked me, what is happening? And I told him, nothing, professor, nothing. Everything is perfect. Okay, and I see that you're smiling. Yes, because I found something for me. and that's it. And so he was happy, and okay. And because he was counting on me, because I was the best in that year. And then I started looking at the title and looking at it like this. And I was looking to my roommates. They were just riding, and then I was looking to the track again, smiling, just waiting. And then the professor, the representative, come and say and asked me, Massimo, is everything okay? It's funny, really, because I remember it and I can recall it quite vividly, and it was really funny for me. And I was like, yes? Is it everything okay, Massimo? Yes, it is everything okay. What's up? No, because I see that you are not writing anything. Okay, it's normal, it's okay. Please, professor, let me just think about it. Okay. And I was again looking at the track, reading the track. What is the role of the imagination in the nowadays society? And I was smiling. I was watching the track and reading it again, and then I was like this, and the time was passing by, and after 5 minutes I could see that some of my classmates were just started watching me and looking at me. I was like this watching, and they were already, and sometimes one of them was just checking if the professor were not watching, so that they could copy their text. They already made composition, and then sometimes I could see some of them looking at me like that, which in Italian, in this in this context which, what is happening, what are you doing, what's happening, what's up? And it was like a friend of mine, and I was like, don't worry, no worry. Then there were all the teachers starting watching at me, and they were watching at me, and I was smiling at them. So it was really really funny. And I then saw the class representative looking at me seriously worried, and then he get up and come again. Massimo, what's happening? Why are not you writing? Is it everything okay? And I told him, yes, please, I'm doing it. But you are not writing anything. It is not about writing, it is about thinking. And my voice was a little bit loud, because there was silence, and I could perceive all the attention of the whole class and the commission teachers. I was okay. It's fine. Let me do it. Like I know what I'm doing. It was really something like cool, okay. And then suddenly I was thinking, I was passionate about martial arts, and then this idea was, incubating in my mind, and then I was thinking, at that time I was fixed with balance, and then this idea was in my mind, was forming and incubating, and every time the teacher was coming asking me what is happening, and he was just stopping my the creation phase, and so on. And I was so passionate about this concept of balance, and so then something I knew it was going to happen, and it happened. I think when after the time of the trial, was already passed, and I could see really the class representative really worried, and the other teachers really curious what's happening and so on. And I just was like, and it's something like, and I was like, okay. And I had this idea about balance, martial arts and fantasy and science fiction. And basically what I wrote, I had this inspiration, and what I wrote was that, just to let you know, that the story, I wrote a story about, starting from the prehistoric period, when the cavemen were just full of superstitions because they couldn't explain various natural phenomena and so on. And then I went through the ancient age, and then middle age, and then the modern age, and so on. And the theme, the basic principle was that I was using the balance principle. We have to have good and bad, and yin and yang, positive, negative. I was really passionate about martial arts at that time, and I was keeping this balance idea concept all throughout the composition. And like at the beginning there was too much unbalance about what was known and what was unknown, too many things unknown, and that there was a great amount of superstition, and then with the philosophers, Greek philosophers, and and also Chinese philosophers, and with the people started questioning and inspecting and finding out how something, many things in nature, in the physical units were working and so on. And then a larger part of knowledge, of stable knowledge, was taking place, but there was still this great gap, great imbalance between what was known and what was unknown, and so there were still superstition and so on, And then in the Middle Age, superstition about demons and angels and all of this stuff. And then until we went to the Renaissance. I don't remember the English name anyway, with Galileo Galilei, with Leonardo, before, with these great minds like Leonardo da Vinci and Galileo Galilei, and other, Kepler, Copernico, and many others. They were just finding answers and explaining things, letting less and less and less room for superstition, and more and more room for science and certain data, and the balance was just going from superstition and knowledge through the age until the modern age, where science looked like could explain everything and nothing was left for very little was left about the unknown, not known. And then what happened was that I introduced then this in the last part of modern age, these writers writing about science fiction and about fantasy, like Tolkien for fantasy, and Asimov for science fiction, Ron Hubbard for science fiction, and then Harry Turtledove and many others for fantasy, because I was more for fantasy stuff, and then this was the way that the unknown and the imagination could get back their balance. How this balance was conquered back, and then there was again the balance. And it was quite a success, as I already explained in a previous video. The teacher, the professor, and the teachers anyway, high school teachers were reading my composition every time that they were bored from the composition of my classmates. Sorry for them, but it was like it was. And so what happened was basically that this is something that happens to everyone, but at least I had the track and I could think about it and so on. I learned the structure of how to write, a copy, a text, and which question I had to answer. And if you want to know what the structure is and which question they are, you just go and search for my other video speaking about it, and about how to write a good sales copy. Okay, and but I had something which was common to everyone. It's known as I don't know the perfect correct English translation, but it is the rider block, something like this, the block of the rider. You just are there in front of your paper or your own, and you just don't know what to write. And so basically what I understood at that time was that, what I didn't understand at that time was that what catched the teachers was the story, because I was telling a story about I was telling a story about how this balance about known and unknown, superstition, imagination, and certain data were balanced or unbalanced and so on. And I went throughout all the ages, and this get them involved, and I got on that I got the best notes, as always, the best 60 on 60 when I graduated. And and that was the point. Story. The point is that I had the fortune to have the track, and I had to think about it. But when you don't even have the track, what do you do? So basically, you have to understand that there are two types of contents: technical contents and entertaining content. This is what I understood basically by myself. And if you are um, writing or shooting video or audio podcast about something which is technical, which is better if you shoot shoot videos or write and use schemes. You just have to follow a storyline where you introduce what you want to explain, and then you develop it, and then you go into the conclusions about everything, like I already explained in my previous video, how to write a good sales copy. But you have to be really technical, step by step, and the story is just the steps of the technical procedure, and there is not that much room for emotion and so on. But there is anyway that kind of structure, and you know you just follow what is needed to do something, and you explain it in your text or in your video, on your audio and so on. But when it's about entertaining, this is quite a little bit harder to do, because in the first case you are really great in what you are doing, you know what to do, and you can have some issues in how to present it, but you can do it and you know what you have to do. But in the second case, the problem is that you have to entertain people with stories. But again, we go back, how do I get endless contents, endless stories? How do I find stories that I can write? Well, basically there are three main fast ways to know about content to write about or to post about, which you can find in the three main channels, which are social media: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. What can you do? You want ideas, you just go on Facebook, you just scroll other people's feeds and see what they are posting, and basically what is that thing that is more engaging, that post, that topic which is having the most interactions. So that is a good topic to develop, so that you can explain, you can post something read by yourself about the same topic, the same subject. And you can use this principle on these three platforms. You can go on Facebook groups niche related, and watch which posts are the best engaging and so on. Or you can even see which questions are asked in Facebook groups posts you can answer, and you can then use that question to create your own content. So just Facebook groups are an endless, and Facebook profiles are an endless source of topics, of contents that you can develop. Then you can do the same on Instagram. You go on Instagram, you are maybe you are in the online business, and you are following people on the online business, and you see which posts they are doing, and then you can create use the same or similar topic and create your own content. You literally have an endless infinite amount of content that you can create. And same thing on YouTube. You see which videos are getting the most views and so on, which topics. You go into the channel of other competitors and see, and you develop them, and so on. And there is a fourth way, which is just ask people what they want to know about your topic, your niche. Okay, these are the four easiest way to create endless content. But the content must be released in a certain way, so that it can grab attention of the people, and then can engage them where they are reading or watching or listening, if it is podcast, audio, if it is text, or if it is video. And there are certain rules that you have to follow, so that they keep keep going, reading or listening or watching, or all of them, and until they arrive to the conclusion that the call to action, okay? And also the call to action must be done in a certain way. So, and where can you learn this? Well, I learned this in the One Funnel Away challenge, and you learn how to, in the One Funnel Away challenge, this 30-day challenge, where you learn everything about funnels, how to create funnels, how to create a irresistible offer, how to create sales copy, text copy which sells, and so on, and how to create mechanically the funnel and how to drive traffic to it. And you must be really creative, and you have to create both here in sales copy and here, but in traffic, to grab people's attention and to drive it into your funnel. Especially here, you will learn how to create endless content, which is something I didn't speak about, but there is some hint at the beginning of this video, where I was speaking about our tendency to speak about something and then go into another topic and then go into another topic and so on. There is a way to exploit this mechanism so that you can use it to your advantage, and it is clearly explained, fully explained, and you do also training and drills in the second week of the One Funnel Away challenge, where you learn about how to create endless content for every platform, existing one or existing in the future. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to know how to develop an endless content for your business, for your social platforms and so on, you can use the 4 tips that I gave to you, but the best one, which can really help you in every time, okay, even if you cannot go and search for contents on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and so on, or you don't receive any answer for people, is just in the One Funnel Away challenge second week, about speaking about sales copy, okay? And we will see us in the next video. Thank you very much. Click on the link, post a comment in this post, or send me a message on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, or Twitter, wherever, and have a nice day. See you next time.